The wise lesson in the garden. In a small village there was a beautiful garden. The garden belonged to an old man named Mr. Tomás. He loved flowers, trees, and the birds that came to visit. Every morning Mr. Tomás worked in the garden. He watered the flowers, pulled the weeds, and cared for every plant. The garden was full of life, with colors of red, yellow, blue, and green. One day, a boy named Marco came to visit Mr. Tomás. "Why do you work so hard in the garden?" Marco asked. "You are old, and the plants do not talk or move." Mr. Tomás smiled and said, "Come here, Marco. I will show you something important." Mr. Tomás gave Marco a small seed. "Plant this seed in the ground," he said. Marco dug a small hole and put the seed inside. Mr. Tomás covered it with earth and gave Marco a watering can. "Now water it every day," Mr. Tomás said. Days passed, and Marco visited the garden every morning. He watered the spot where the seed was planted. At first, nothing happened. Marco started to feel sad. "The seed is not growing," he said to Mr. Tomás. "Be patient, Marco," Mr. Tomás said kindly. "Good things take time." After a week, Marco saw a small green plant coming out of the ground. His eyes opened wide, and he smiled. "See?" Mr. Tomás said, "This little plant is like life. If you care for something with love and patience, it will grow." Marco learned an important lesson that day. The garden taught him about patience, care, and the beauty of life. From then on, Marco helped Mr. Tomás in the garden. Together, they made it even more beautiful.